focus on something a little more personal, and I wrote my speech today on my experience with adoption. And everybody, whenever you tell somebody you're going to put your child up for adoption, they always want to say, you know, you're doing such a great thing, or you're helping this family so much, and it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're giving up part of yourself. It feels hard, and it's horrible. It hurts, and people say they relate, and you just don't think anybody can. And you know that you're not doing this for the family, and you know you're doing this for yourself and your child. And when I found out I was pregnant, I was 17, I was living on my own with a boyfriend, and I was trying to support myself by being a hostess and working minimum wage. And I found out I was pregnant. I didn't know what to do. I desperately wanted to keep this child, but after a lot of thought and consideration, I knew it just wasn't viable or an option. I wanted to give this child everything instead of just what I could provide. And I figured out that adoption would work for me. So I had a friend whose sister knew a family, and they were the Durgans, and they were looking for a child. When I started talking to them, I figured out that they had a lot of the same values as me, a lot of the same morals, and they were way better off than me. They already had 4 children, so they had a lot of experience with the subject, and they knew a lot more about it than I did. And eventually, I ended up going to live with them because I was having a hard time supporting myself, and I couldn't live with my boyfriend anymore. And when I came to live with them, I saw how happy their children were, and I saw just how good they were with their children. And I even saw them have fights with their children and how they handled it, and how it was way better than what I would have done. And I figured they were the ones, and I decided to give up the baby to them. And she was born on July 3rd, 2013. It won't work. But she was 8 pounds, 5 ounces, and 21 inches. Her name was Riley Olivia Rigsby to begin with, and she was eventually changed to Riley Olivia Durgan. But that was one of the hardest days of my life. I went through labor from about 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I had to have a C-section later on. And I remember laying there on the table while they did the operation, and they took the baby out and everything. And I started crying, and the baby started crying, and my boyfriend started crying, and everybody was just a mess. And they put me under finally, and when I woke up, the Durgans were there, and they had the baby, and they were holding her, and they were already taking better care of her than I could, because I wasn't awake. And then, you know, they finally adopted her in December. I went home with my boyfriend and stayed with his family for a couple days. And I ended up tearing my stitches because he was at work all the time and there was nobody there to help me to the bathroom. And this kind of confirmed that I couldn't do this. I couldn't be a mom. And so I eventually moved down to Florida to live with my grandfather and my grandmother. And my grandmother told me, you know, maybe you should try and get this baby back if you're so torn up over it. So I tried, and I lost, and I'm still trying to repair the damage I did with me and the family. And I get to see her occasionally, but not too often, because she lives in Georgia. And I just know that she's happy now. Like, I get pictures of her, and I get to see videos, and I get to go visit her, and it's just the best experience I have. It makes me feel so much better. And if I was a single mom right now, I wouldn't be able to go through college. I wouldn't be able to work. I wouldn't be able to do the things I do. And she would be, you know, at daycare all day. She wouldn't be with a stay-at-home mom. She wouldn't have the attention that I could give her. And she's a lot better off this way. And I eventually, you know, have come to terms with it. It's been a year now, and it still hurts every day. In every situation I'm in, I think about her. I